right, wary observations, righteous discussions unite people. It's the Word Up Podcast, and I am your host, OMNIETC,
Omni.
etc. Back at it again. Listen, I kept this tab open all night. Kept this tab open all night just so we could return to the exact same spot. I had to keep this tab open all night. I didn't have to. I could have remembered the timestamp and whatnot, but admittedly, I was being lazy. So I kept this tab open all night, exactly where we left off at, so we can get back to it. I might need to revisit what the context of the current point in time is, just to see where we're at. But yeah, this is the ABBA versus, I don't even say it, the ABBA and Steve Knight debate. If I remember correctly, ABBA wanted to include political context in the beginning of the conversation, but when Steve was bringing up his points later on, ABBA then wanted to throw context out of the window, and it had me looking like Steve's face right now. But let's see. Hold on. Let me go back just a little bit. We're just going back just a little bit to get the context, because context is important.
See it. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my whole point. You're taking it from your perspective because you don't think those opinions are that crazy, right?
Yeah, they ain't that crazy, but I'm not diminishing their feelings about it. They can hate it. I don't agree, but I'm not saying they're wrong and hating it. I never said that.
Okay, another point that you made. I played a second clip, and this is probably one of the wilder clips. A young man goes up to Charlie Kirk during that debate, and he says to him, "Hey, what do you think about school lunches for kids?" And Charlie laughs him. He says, "There's no starvation in America. We have an obesity problem. Nobody here is going without food." And then you agreed with him. You said there's no starvation in America. Go get food stamps. You can get food at churches. There's no reason to starve. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's no reason to starve in America. It's like 1% of households have like technically a hunger issue, bro. But people are not starving to death in America, bro. Motherfuckers are fat as hell. That's a fact.
Okay.
Starvation. Let me look up real quick the actual definition of starvation. Because it's one thing to say that, kids are hungry. It's one thing. Hold on 1 second. I see something I don't like to see. You know what? We just gonna bloop. All right. It's one thing. It's one thing to say, where are we? There it is. It's one thing to say people are starving in this country. It's an entirely different thing to say people are going hungry. Like, there's levels to it. Like, yeah, I went to school with a bunch of hungry kids. You know what I'm saying? I went to school with hungry kids. I know what that's like. Some days I went to school hungry. It is what it is. Starvation. Hold on. Starvation. Long term, so let's be specific. Long term, severe deprivation of nutrition. Specifically of nutrition. Starvation. I believe that is the medical definition as per Mayo Clinic. And then the Oxford languages, definitions from Oxford languages define starvation as suffering or death caused by hunger. All right? Starvation. I don't think we have an exorbitant amount of starvation going on in the country. Hunger? Sure. Severe hunger even? Maybe. But kids in mass starving and suffering as a result of starving, or being super hungry to the point of death, that they didn't receive any nutrition for an extended period of time, not just 1 or 2 days out of the week. You know what I mean? I don't see that. Not when I can open my McDonald's app and I can buy a drink and get free fries with the drink. And the drink is only like $1.50. Now, to a lot of people's points, there is a there are bad parents and things like that, inconsiderate parents, parents who didn't actually want the kids, but had them as oops babies and treat them like they're oops babies. But mass starvation being a huge problem in society, I think it should be analyzed. It should be looked at for what it is. I think we need to figure out ways to reduce any amount of starvation. But to say that there's mass starvation for children, I think is a bit of a reach. It's a bit of a stretch.
And see, this is the problem I have with like people who are pro-life, and not you specifically, but people like Charlie Kirk. They're so obsessed with keeping fetuses alive, they pretend it's like this big virtue. And then when a child is born, they're like, fuck you, your parents take care of you. It's actually probably one of the most hypocritical, and this is why I think Charlie Kirk is probably a shitty person to me.
I would rather experience life with starvation without being able to experience life at all. And I've actually starved. Like, I'm a Hurricane Katrina survivor. So I went some time without food until they got us out of the attic. And outside of that, I've missed meals too. So I don't know, man. I would rather have the option to experience life, even the bad parts of life, instead of not experiencing life at all. And the thing about it is, the unborn children a lot of times don't get the option to voice whether or not they actually would prefer to have experienced life. But I think most people on the planet nowadays would have preferred to experience life regardless of what their circumstances are. Most people. Probably not everybody, but most people.
Is that he spent all this time being anti-abortion, but when it comes to every government initiative that's meant to protect kids and keep them good, he was always against it. And to me, it's like, what's the fucking point of keeping this fetus alive if when it comes out, you're like, yo, fuck you, kid. And that's what he did.
He said, fuck you, kid?
He didn't say that. He did in the clip. He didn't say, fuck you, kid. That's a very emotional charge or emotional response right there.
No, he didn't, but he might as well have when he's constantly championing.
Might as well have. All right, here we go.
Everything that's anti-public sector, government involved, taking care of kids. Even you saying there's no starvation is like so disingenuous. If you just Google it, there's like so many kids today here in America. You can look it up, the statistics, that have malnutrition, that have food scarcity, that have all these problems. It stunts their growth. It fucks them up in terms of their academic success. And for you guys to sit there and think that food lunches for kids is a crazy idea and parents should take care of them. Some parents are dog shit. Some parents don't take care of their kids. And so that's why these school lunches happen, so that kids who go to school get a meal. But people like Charlie Kirk, and then you did the same thing, are like, no, the parents take care of it. That's fucking stupid. And I'm like, do you guys even Google this stuff? Do you guys even look into it? But you speak confidently against this stuff that's hurting hundreds and thousands of kids. And I'm like, I don't get it.
I'll ask you a question.
Okay, so this is what Google spits out, because he mentioned Google, so I just went ahead and hit Google. Google spits out in the AI overview, in the U.S., roughly 14 million children faced hunger in 2023, meaning, and they provide full context of what they're meaning they were food insecure and unsure of their next meal. Now, this is very important because words mean things, right? Words mean things. I looked up how many kids are starving in America, and it's telling me about hunger. Starvation is a different level of hunger, whereas I just read the definition a second ago, and the definition was long-term severe deprivation of nutrition. That's starvation. Long-term. Omni. Sorry, it's connected to my button. But I didn't mean to do that, but I probably should have. So when we talk about hunger, right, and what Google tells you with their AI overview is that for roughly 14 million children faced hunger, meaning they were insecure and unsure of their next meal. If you get 3 meals a day and you're missing one, you're not, you know what I'm saying, you're unsure or insecure of your next meal, you're not suffering from starvation. Maybe extreme hunger, but to the point of malnutrition, yeah, like I don't know. And again, it says, and this will be accurate based on that. 1 in 5 children. Um, it's a common statistic to illustrate the scale of the problem, in indicating that hunger is a widespread issue among American children. So about 1 in 5 children, or 20%, of hunger, but the conversation is about starvation, not hunger. Kids are hungry every day. So I don't know why it's giving me hunger statistics when I need starvation statistics. You know what I mean? And that's what Google does, but you have to be able to differentiate and delineate for yourself when you're reading things, because words mean things. If I ask you about starvation and you tell me about hunger, you're not really addressing the level of the conversation that we're speaking at.
Which one is higher, the amount of abortions in America or the amount of starving children in America?
The amount of starving kids in America.
Oh, that's cap. That's cap.
That's cap? Did you Google it? Did you Google it?
I don't need to Google it, but
you don't need facts. But you know what? Facts don't care about how you feel about it. I need you to Google it.
Okay, I'll Google it. Somebody Google it in the chat, bro. But
okay.
But I'm not. You. Let me figure out the best way to articulate this, because I think
it's like a million a year. I think it's like a million a year. Let's see, how many unalive things of children. Yeah, it's like a million. It's like a million, and that's actually up a lot from 2020. Like, it's an estimated 1 million unborn terminations in 2024, and that's up about 100,000, excuse me, from 2020. So that number is actually up. So if it kept on an upswing trend, then year over year we're looking at around 1 million per year, and then there's 14 million kids that are reported to be hungry. Doesn't say malnourished. Which, let me look up malnourished. Maybe that'll give me the statistic that I'm actually looking for. Maybe that's giving me the statistic that I'm looking for. How many? Shout out to, I see you, Raw. Shout out to Mind Chaos Brew in the chat. Hold on, let me hit the Omni. Yeah, malnourished would be the better term than starvation. How many malnourished children in the USA? See, and did you mean? It's still giving me hunger statistics. Like, we want to talk about specifically starvation. I don't want to hear about hunger. Kids be hungry every day. Kids be hungry every hour. Let's be honest. I want to hear about hunger. I want to hear about malnutrition. I want to hear about starvation. So when I'm asking you about malnutrition and starvation specifically, and right here at the end of this AI overview, I'm gonna slide this over because y'all need to see it. like I'm reading it, how I'm reading it. Hold on, I'm gonna slide this tab over. So thank God for technology the way that we had. We didn't have this with Windows 95. I promise we didn't. I promise Windows NT, you know what I mean, in Windows NT when we had floppy drives, we couldn't do all this. I mean, y'all see this? Y'all see this right here? All right, so what does it say? According to the 2023 supplemental poverty measure, approximately 10 million children in the United States are living in food insecure households, meaning they do not have consistent access to enough food for a healthy diet, right? Then it goes on to say, at another point, this number has increased in recent years, due in part to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the result, I don't know what the, okay, that's my alarm, sorry. Okay, so this number has increased in recent years, due in part to the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic downturn. Understandable. Children from low-income families, racial and ethnic minorities, and those living in rural areas are disproportionately affected. Par for the course. Par for the course, I understand, but we're still not addressing malnutrition. Now, check this out. This part. This specific part, right? It's important to note that food insecurity does not always lead to malnutrition, i.e., starvation, but it increases the risk. Malnutrition rates among children in the United States are generally low. So while kids are going hungry all the time, because kids be hungry all the time, but the malnutrition rates, remember the definition I had before? Hold on, let me pull the other definition. Hold on. I was back here, then I was back here, then I was back here. Starvation. What's it say? You don't see it over there. Hold on, let me move the screen over so you can see the one I'm talking about. This one right here. This one right here. You see that one? You see that beautiful definition right there? You see that beautiful definition right there? Long-term severe deprivation of nutrition. That is starvation. So when you go to Google, you type in starvation, it gives you hunger stats. And then you go ahead and run with the narrative on what those hunger stats mean. When the effect, the primary effect of starvation would be malnutrition. But as we, and I'm gonna have to click this a couple of times. I gotta get, you know what? No. As I read, we're just gonna go forward over here, right? As I read over here, malnutrition rates among children in the United States are generally low. So it's low. It's a small amount of children in the US of A that are actually starving, in effect. Starvation is low amongst children. Starvation is low amongst children. Again, I got to highlight, hold on, wrong one. Highlighting my Chaos Root because I didn't give you your highlight, sis. And highlighting Christopher J. Shout out to my people in the building. Omni. Starvation is low. Kids are going to be hungry. They may miss meals here and there. Parents not paying attention. Both parents are probably working 2 jobs and whatnot. They get ahead of themselves, behind themselves, whatever it is. All right. Or some parents just ain't shit. it is what it is. Some parents just ain't shit, right? But starvation is low amongst children, and you really have to train yourself to get to the root of things and not just be swayed by whatever is the first thing that's put in front of your face. Just because they said, you looked up starvation and it gave you hunger stats. Hunger and starvation are different levels. Starvation is a level of hunger that leads to malnutrition, or is a result, rather, of malnutrition. But children aren't really starving like that. Not in a country where you could get a drink for $1.50 and they give you free fries.
This anger towards Kirk and me and whomever else because we don't support government, not even support government assistance. We're saying the parents should do it. But in the reality of the problem, bro, there's so many different ways that people can eat outside of their parents. There's, food stamps, churches, charities, bro. Like, there's no reason for somebody to starve.
So do you want a 7-year-old or 8-year-old to go to get food stamps or go to church?
Yeah, their parents should go and food stamps. I just saw in the video, bro. You saw in the video. I said it, bro. I'll be jealous when I see the amount of money these people have on food stamps, bro. They be running these EBTs up $400, $500, $600, bro. Like there's no excuse for somebody to be broke or to be hungry unless they got they're picky, they're bougie about what the fuck they want to put in their body, dog. But beggars can't be choosers, bro. Like you can't have no filet mignon when you can't afford it, dog. And we live in a capitalistic we live in a capitalistic country, dog. It is what it is.
Let's take 2 steps back. All right, let's take 2 steps back. Do you agree there's a lot of bad parents out there?
Absolutely, but the world's fucked up though.
Hold on. Do you agree that there's a lot of parents who neglect those children?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that those kids should suffer because they have bad parents?
No, I don't think they should, but bad shit happens.
So wait, you're just gonna let kids suffer?
No, I'm not gonna let them, bro, because there's other avenues. Like if they're going to school, this is a hypothetical, man, but hold on.
What did you say? If they're going to school, what? If they're going to school, they can get a free lunch there?
If they're going to school, I'm assuming that teachers are aware. They can see someone losing weight, or they see whatever.
But that's what the program's for, Stevie. That's what I'm saying. The program is meant to give kids lunches at school.
No, that's not where I'm going.
See how animated he is? Loud and wrong, I promise. Okay, so based on these stats that I got, shout out to the Receiptosphere, Raw B. My Chaos Brew, fresh out the Receiptosphere. They always got the receipts. They got the stats. Check out Mind Chaos Brew. I promise you, they always got the receipts. They always got the stats. They always do the due diligence. You know what I'm saying? And they're willing to help a brother out because they know that he going to school to get his IT degree while he's trying to be a content creator and he be working 7 days out the week. So salute to y'all. Salute to y'all. Now, from these stats, this one really sticks out to me. Trends from early 2000s to 2024, right? Hold on, no, I lost that one. Okay, hold on. Okay. I got it. So stunting, because that's low height for age. When we talk about nutrition, malnutrition, one of the effects is stunting, right? Which indicates chronic undernutrition. About 3.4% of children under the age of 5. Now, I would love for that number to be absolutely zero. I would absolutely love that number to be absolutely zero and non-existent. But the fact is that bad things happen to the good, the bad, the innocent, the just, and the unjust alike. Bad things happen. So 3.4% in a country as big as the U.S., when we said that, an upwards of 14 million children are hungry, but not necessarily malnourished, right? Wasting acute undernutrition, right? Acute, which means the highest levels that it can get next to death, starvation. 0.1%. That's about 7,000 children. Again, would love for that number to be absolute zero. All right, love for that number to be absolute zero. But to go and to not actually do the due diligence, to not break it down, to not have the understanding of the difference between hunger and starvation. So hunger, 20% of the child population, 1 in every 5 has reported at one point in time that they were hungry within a year's time. Okay, granted. But how many are starving in a country, again, that you can get a large drink with some ice so that it'd be cold for $1.50? It might be different where you're at. And they give you free fries. I know it's McDonald's. I'm talking about McDonald's, of course. And McDonald's is not a great source of nutrition. But when we're talking about hunger, we're talking about starvation. We're talking about long term without anything to eat. I don't see it in the United States of America. I don't see it in the United States of America. If prisoners can get 3 square meals a day, we can find food for children. So it has to be severe cases of neglect. Severe cases of neglect. Those 7,000 children in that 0.1% are severely underserved. And those have to be extreme cases. Like, what's the name of that lady out in Michigan that, you know what I'm saying, just left some kids. She just like left some kids to go do what she wanted to do with her life. And she would come back and visit her kids and leave them in a filthy apartment. And she would just visit, leave them there, and then go out and live her best life. Those are the cases that we're talking about. Those are the cases that we're talking about. I don't remember her name, but I will never forget that story. I will never forget her face. It's a woman out in Michigan, I believe last year. Yeah, you remember that story, Chris? Yeah, I'll never forget, brother. I will never forget that story. As long as I live, I will never forget that story. She went out to live her best life. And then she came back over here to and then she came back to her kids, came back to her residence just to check on those children. And it is what it is. Pontiac. Yeah, I think it was Pontiac, Michigan. And yeah, she just decided to do whatever it is that she wanted to do with her life, neglected her kids. Those kids were underserved. Those kids are in the 0.1%. Those children, those babies are in that number of 7,000 kids that are actually experiencing starvation in America. I hated when that story broke, but I'm so glad that story broke. And shout out to Cellulite Podcast in the building. Omni. Shout out to Cellulite Podcast in the building. He actually covered that story as well, so check out his channel, Cellulite Podcast, as well as check out Brother Christopher J's channel as well. Listen, I'm so glad that story broke. I hated it was harrowing to watch. You know what I'm saying? It was horrible. I couldn't imagine growing up like that. I'm so sorry those kids had to grow up like that, but I'm glad that story broke to uncover and to expose what that mother was doing so that those kids could actually get some help and get the services that they needed. Because that's what we do in America. That's what we do in America. We spread awareness for when sick shit like that happens. We're on top of it. People know. And we get the services rendered to remedy the situation. That's what America's about.
On with it. I'm talking about like teachers making calls to get, you know, the correct parties involved to address a child, to find a potential food for them, so they can take advantage of the surplus of food that is available for people in these situations. Like the homeless don't go hungry, bro. They can go get a meal if they want to get a meal.
You're comparing children to homeless. Like, what are we talking about? See, I want y'all to just think about it. So you know there's shitty parents out there, okay? And you want teachers to call the shitty parents to be like, hey, be better parents. Or you want to call child services? You can call. You want to call child services? You want to put them in foster care?
It may be better than having the shooty ass parents.
Have you looked into foster care, Stevie? Have you Googled foster care?
You're describing these parents as ain't shit, bro. Like it is, bad shit happens, dog.
I know. I cover them every day. There's a lot of ain't shit parents. There's a lot of ain't shit.
Look, you
cover them. How many videos have you done about baby mamas? How many videos have you done about baby mamas and dog shit parents? If I go to your channel right now, I'll find dozens, hundreds of videos. So you want to call those? You want teachers to call those parents and be like, "Hey, feed your kids."
You're saying that I'm telling teachers to call the parents. I never said that. I said they can call parties that do this for a living to find children the resources that they need. Like teachers do this all the time. They'll see a child that may be neglected and they'll make the calls or alert people to, you know, intervene. Right, but I mean, I feel like we're pushing it far out to like specifics of it, bro. At the end of the day, my point of view on it is that it's, you know, abortion is a far larger problem than starving children. Children don't starve in America. They may be hungry, but they don't starve. This isn't fucking people. It's not a famine going on. People are not dying because they're
not dying, but
like hypertension, obesity. There's much more obese kids than there are hungry kids, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the world's not perfect, dog. It's not utopia, bro. So it's like, I get, and then I'm a capitalist, dog. I'm not in support of the government coming out taking care of everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to oppose it like Charlie did.
You want the government to get.
And that's the thing about conservatism, right? That's the thing that I appreciate about conservatism. Is that when a conservative speaks, it's always like people hate the language. You know, a lot of liberals hate the language of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? But they don't see the power in it. The power is that you are able to have control over your situation. When you are dependent on these government programs and this government assistance and things, the same people that you require to feed you have the capacity and the capability to starve you. And that's what I don't fuck with.
Get involved and stop abortions.
I never said I don't give a fuck about what anybody does with abortion. I'm.
Did you say it's a bigger problem?
Yeah, I said.
We just proved on live in real time that is a bigger problem. 7,000 to 1 million per year. We're talking about starvation, not hunger. Starvation versus they said abortion, so I'm gonna say abortion. I'm going to just limit the amount that I said. Starvation versus the unaliving of the unborn, right? We just proved here in real time that there is a bigger problem of the unaliving of the unborn than there is of malnutrition, starvation of children every year. Children go hungry. They don't really starve.
It's a bigger problem, but I didn't give a solution to it. I know it's a problem, but I never said what I want to do about it. I could care less. Like, it is what it is, dog. This life is fucking hard, dog, and some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people would hear your stance or hear Charlie Kirk's stance and say, you guys aren't the best people because you don't seem to care about making sure that other people in society are okay, right? You guys are more focused on being capitalists and taking care of yourselves, which is okay. Do that. But if people...
And that's not all capitalists do. That's not all communists. I mean, not communists. That's not all capitalists do. That's not all conservatives do. Like, when you have a business that's up and running, and you're actually the employer of other people, it is also your business that pays other people so that they can take care of their families. So it's not just people just think so small when it comes to business. It's not just to feed the guy at the top. It's actually a vehicle through which you feed other people as well in exchange for their talents.
People want to look at you and say, well, you guys spread hate out there, or you guys spread selfishness. I think that's okay.
But I never said that was a problem. I said people can say whatever the fuck they want to say. My issue with people was celebrating his death, like championing pom pom and that shit. That's the epitome of evil to me, right? And
that should be, that of all things should be the focal point of the conversation. The focal point of this entire conversation should have been the championing of death of someone who got unalived over words. They took him out for things that he said, not necessarily anything that he did. Everybody wants to make this one-for-one comparison just because he spoke during the time that George Floyd died. Everybody wants to make this unaliving and what happened to George Floyd and his demise a one-for-one comparison. Please, somebody in the chat remind me, what brand of weapon was it that Charlie Kirk held to the stomach of a pregnant woman? Because in all my research on Charlie Kirk, I haven't seen him with that charge on his record, nor any charge on his record. But I guess people would like to gloss over that because they're on the same side that is okay with casually unaliving children at birth. So it would make sense that they would gloss over the fact that George Floyd held a weapon to a pregnant woman's stomach because, I mean, they plan on doing it anyway, right? So, whatever.
That's not a right or left thing.
You think it's more evil to celebrate that man's death than it is for that man to advocate for the fact that children don't get meals?
But they can get meals. Is that the only video you've seen him talk about children?
I'm just saying. Someone dancing in the room. I think it's bad. I agree. I think it's bad that someone danced in the room and thought it was great that Charlie Kirk died. But I also think it's bad that you're out there openly advocating for kids to not get meals in school because
said?
Oh my God. Okay, so I was so confused because I saw a lot of videos before I did this breakdown, I saw a lot of videos saying that ABBA won this debate. Look at it. Anybody that looks like that during a debate, they can never... Look at this man's eyes. Anybody that's doing this type of behavior during a debate, they're not winning. I'm sorry. And yes, sell logic. That's the only way that I think. That's the only way I think. Ross said none. Yeah, I know. It's none. Nobody could pull up a record of Charlie Kirk putting a weapon to a pregnant woman's stomach. But they want to make a one-for-one comparison between him and George Floyd. They're not anywhere near the same human being. And it has nothing to do with skin color. It has everything to do with the content of their character.
Who said I'm advocating for kids to not get meals in school? I'm advocating for kids to take advantage of the surplus of food available to them in the different ways that it is. It's not on somebody to do it, bro. Like, you know, you're shitty parents. I get it, but we disagree on that perspective, dog. Like, you think that the government should step in and save the world. I don't agree with that. I mean, if they do it, I'm not gonna contend it. I'm not do what you want to do, bro. But I understand Kirk's perspective in that.
We pay so much in tax dollars, and most of it goes to the military to do funding wars overseas. I don't think.
Here we go. You know why most of it goes to the military? And I used to have naive opinions like this in my early 20s. In my early 20s, I had naive opinions like this. But we need really big guns to secure the freedoms that we have, the liberties that we have. Because natural law dictates you only get to have freedom and control and authority over that which you are able to protect. That is natural law. So when you look at a government, when you look at a nation, when you look at a state, right, There's not a flag that has been put in any mud that didn't take blood to hoist up and to fly those colors. So to say, oh my God, why are we giving so much money to the military? Because our first priority as a country, as a nation, as a state, is to have the ability to protect that which we already have. That's why there's so much money being spent on the military. I would be very concerned if the military spending budget was the smallest thing that we spent every year. It has to be the most. It has to be the biggest. And the reason why it has to be the biggest is so that this country can secure the freedom for you to disrespect it on a daily basis. You want to talk about irony? That's ironic as fuck.
It's so crazy to say, hey man, take 1% of that budget and make sure these kids don't go hungry. Take another 1% of that budget and take care of veterans. But you know, like maybe,
but look,
maybe that's wrong. I just think it's crazy.
I wouldn't disagree with you with that, but I don't disagree with Kirk either. I mean, I don't think he should be painted as a demon for having that viewpoint.
I mean, I think it's pretty demonic to not want kids to have meals. Personally,
He never said he didn't want kids to have meals. Is that
again? That's not what he said. He didn't want kids to have meals. He said it should be parental responsibility. So we need to cultivate an environment in which the parents step up and do the job and pay the debt owed to the person that didn't ask to be here, but that they created. How are we not getting this? How do we not get this as a society?
That the only conversation you've seen Abba have discussing that topic?
When he was suggested a food program to make sure that kids who can't get access to good food or decent food or have malnutrition get food, he said, no, that's fucking stupid.
Can you answer my question, though? Was that the only video did you let that video play and see what else he said in regards to that discussion?
Yeah, I played it.
And what did he say?
He said that he thinks that the parents should take care of it.
No, he said, pull it up right now. I've seen you. That's not what
you can pull it up, but that's what he said.
No, bro. He
said should not be involved.
No, bro. You're a victim to the same thing everybody else going through, just getting sucked in by these reels, dog. He's named all these different avenues, these different ways of children to receive food. You're just stuck on the school. You're stuck on the school.
How does a hungry kid get food?
I gave you one example. If he's at school and teachers are aware of what the fuck's going on and they see a damn child coming in there looking emaciated, I don't know. I don't know what teachers, but I've seen instances where teachers step in and get the correct party involved to help said children.
Okay, so you want the state to get involved to make sure that kid gets school?
I have to agree with you, Sal. It's a difference, right? There's a difference in and I think people miss this when it comes to debating, because Abba's there to win. Right? And Steven is there to hash out an understanding. Abba's objective is to win, and Steven's objective is to, Abba wants to win the debate, and Steve wants to have the discussion, right, Sal? The discussion. He wants to have a discussion. Abba is having the conversation. And in having the conversation, he wants to win the conversation. Right? Steven's there for understanding. He's like, let me hear you out because I want to see what you're talking about and if it really holds up to the objective truth that I'm talking about. I want to see if what you're talking about is more of an objective truth. Let's see. Mind Chaos Brew, who's a black woman and a mother. She says, they ask me every time I take my kids to the doctor, she means, every time I take my kids, but if I was a liar and wanted free food, I would say yes, even though my kids are thick. Shout out to thick kid. Well, let me not say that. No. Let me not say that. But shout out to well-fed kids. Well-fed kids. Shout out to you.
I
You literally just like that's what you said. You want this.
I never said want. I said these resources are available to them.
But that's what your solution is, right?
That's not my solution. I'm giving you the fact that there's different avenues and resources for children to get food if they need it. I'm not saying what I want. I'm saying what's available to them. There's no reason to starve, dog.
All right. Hey, listen.
There's no reason to starve. Kids go hungry within approximately 3 hours of just being fed. Yeah, food. Yeah. Food insecurity is not an accurate metric. It's not. It's not. You know what food insecurity is? Oh, I forgot to go to the grocery store. Now my household is without almond milk for a day. That's food insecurity. I didn't secure the almond milk. My Chaos Brew said 3 hours, try 3 minutes. So yeah, like 3 hours, try 3 minutes. Yeah, kids get hungry quick. So depending on what time of day that you caught them, when you ask them, are you hungry? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's absolute crazy. Let's get through this because I'm running out of time. I only had a short amount of time today. Hold on.
We'll agree to disagree on this point. No reason for kids to, but
might have to do a part 3.
Every year there's so many kids who are suffering from malnutrition. That's what the numbers say.
Yeah, and there's so many people that die from car accidents, bro. Fucked up shit happens. Like, we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody, bro. Like, it is.
But just because we can't save everybody doesn't mean we don't try.
But there's avenues for.
And see that right there. Just because, you know what I'm saying, we don't save everybody doesn't mean we don't try. No one said anything about not trying to save people or not trying to have people be in the best circumstances that they can be in order to save themselves, which is what my vote is. But there's always going to be a percentage in any society. We're never going to have a utopian society. As flesh and blood individuals, I don't see it happening. As flesh and bone individuals, I don't think we'll have a utopian society. Maybe when the robots take over, maybe they'll build something that's better for themselves because they're going to Terminator Genesis us. But you know, that's just what it is. And he said, and for him to say, it doesn't mean we don't try. Nobody's said anything about not trying. Steve literally named off, look, they could go to food pantry at church. They got shelters with food in it. The teachers could come up with solutions at the schools, doctors, what have you. He named several things. And at this point, Abba is just being really disingenuous. And I do not have any appreciation for it. Like, he's really disingenuous about this conversation.
For them to be saved, just maybe not with this school example.
Yeah, like, yes, car accidents happen every year. Doesn't mean we don't try to make cars safer.
And there's ways for children to get food.
Okay, man. I'm gonna disagree. I think
you don't think there's other.
There's ways for children to get food, and that's usually the liberal cutoff point, where you make a point that they can't get around. There are ways for children to get food. He made a point, a stonewall point. There are ways for children to get food in this country. And he's like, all right, man, whatever. Copping out.
Other ways for children to get food outside getting it at school?
I don't know. Have you ever been a kid? You think kids just know where to get free food every day? You truly think kids know what the resources are?
I don't know what I don't know what their day-to-day is, man, but maybe there's
facts. JP is literally Jay Pritz is literally the living embodiment and representation of, look, children can't get food. That man be at the food pantry 2-3 times a week at whatever church he's near. There's ways to get food. May not be the best quality food. It's food. You can get food. Like, what do you think SNAP is? WIC. I don't understand these people.
Meetings or like ways that teachers can express this to children to like educate them on, you know, there's like sex reproduction type of information they get. There's like if there's a potential for a problem to be had, I'm assuming that, you know, there may be ways for schools or whomever to express these resources to kids to make them aware of it, at least. Like if they come in hungry, hey, we have this available if you are hungry. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how it is, but there are different ways for children to get food. I'm just making shit off the top of my head of how that connection may occur.
Yeah. I just think in terms of worldview, we fundamentally disagree on this topic, but it's fine.
Yeah, you fundamentally disagree. He's right. You're wrong. You're way off on this, because you clearly looked at the first thing that Google or ChatGPT spat out at you, and without critical thinking skills and using your own skill set to differentiate, you know, and look at the difference in the terms of starvation and hunger. I caught that immediately as soon as I typed in, you know, the phrase of, well, how many kids are starving in America. It gave me hunger, and I knew immediately that hunger and starvation are two different things. But clearly you just took the narrative that Google gave you in the AI overview and you ran with it, instead of understanding the difference between hunger and starvation. Kids go hungry all the time, literally all the time, because kids are some hungry mother. But kids be eating a lot, bro. But starvation is going a long time without any sort of sustenance, any food, any nutrition, and I don't see it. So I'm giving Steve the point on this one and the last conversation that they had when they were. So Steve is up 2-0 right now for me. So that's how I'm calling this debate. 2-0, Steve. What's up, Jay Villa, the realist, in the building? Omni. Shout out Jay Villa, the realist. You caught me on the way out, brother. I gotta run. But we're gonna do a part 3. When can I schedule a part 3? I think Friday. This coming Friday, I'm gonna do a part 3 on this. I got some things to take care of. As I said earlier in the program, I got a lot of stuff to do. So shout out Mind Chaos Brew. Shout out Jay Villa, the realist. Cellulite Podcast. Christopher J. and everybody else that came along. Didn't say anything. Didn't say hi, but it's cool. It's cool. Shout out to everybody that did say what's up. And till next time, y'all take it easy. Wary observations, righteous discussions, unite people. It's the Word Up Podcast. And I'm your host, OMNIETC, Omni, etc. Till next time, y'all take care.